You're now tuned in to the Holly. You're now tuned into the Holly. You are now tuned in. You are now tuned in. You are now tuned in to the
Highly Flavored Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome. This is the Highly Flavored Podcast. This is episode number 15. I'm your host, Eddie Royal. We're going to get into a few things today. We're going to talk about Jacquees self-proclaiming himself to be the latest king of R&B. We're going to talk about Cardi B and her lack of relationship with Offset now. We are going to talk about Nicki Minaj, her new boo. We are going to talk about Nipsey Hussle. We're going to talk about Kevin Hart. Then we're going to go into some social views, relationships, i.e. wearing the pants, and I'll elaborate more on that once we get into it. But guys, welcome. It is Tuesday here. As I was speaking a little bit earlier on the live before I started actually recording the podcast, it's 5 o'clock here right now in Philly as I'm recording this, and it's dark outside, and I really do not like that. That is the only thing I don't really like about the daylight savings. Nighttime comes fast. It kind of brings down your mood as far as feeling a little more relaxed earlier in the day, zapping your energy, but it is what it is. We are here, and we are going to kick it. So let's talk about some things. Let's jump into the beginning. Just a few things first. The small conversations. Nipsey Hussle was just in a full-out brawl. I believe was following a birthday celebration of Lauren London, which is his girl, fiance, wife. I'm not too fond. Not fine. I'm not too sure of their relationship status. I'm not too up to date, but his girl. It was a full-on brawl in the parking lot. There was an issue inside the club. The group that approached his crew were just in an altercation with someone else on the inside. When they came out, they assumed that it was Nipsey Hussle's crew that was involved, and they jumped in it. And in this video that was on, that I watched, you can actually see like Nipsey Hussle is in the mix. He's pretty much throwing punches and haymakers all over the place. So hopefully everything comes out of that. Hopefully it's not one of the situations where he done got himself into something where now somebody wants to sue him, even though they approached him. You know how it is when you start making money. Everyone turns from thugs to victims really fast, because that's their way of trying to get back at you, is trying to hurt your pockets. I think it's kind of lame, especially if you're the one who started it, but it happens all too much when we see celebrities get into altercations with just the general public. Everyone wants to sue now, so it's kind of trash. Welcome to everyone tuning into my live on Instagram. Welcome to everybody tuning into the live on Facebook. So, Nipsey also had that altercation. Let's move on from that. One of the moving topics of the past week, Nicki Minaj has been sharing a lot of photos of her alleged new boo, who's actually an old flame, someone she was dealing with when she was a teenager. But the issue is not that the fact she moved on and she's in a new relationship after Meek. The issue is that people are seeming to have is that he has a disturbing criminal record, and one is a manslaughter he actually served time for. The other one is he has some type of sexual case. I didn't look into it, but the only thing I actually looked into deeply was the fact that it happened when he was a teen. Not saying that is something that's excused, but he had some type of sexual charge when he was a teen. He's a registered sex offender now. He just had to register as a sex offender well into his adult years, and people have been bashing Nicki for being with him because of his criminal history and his past and things like that. And she spoke on it briefly and said she does believe in second chances and things of that nature. And I think that a lot of this ties into, I believe it's her brother who's like currently in jail for some type of sexual case. I don't know if it was with a minor or something like that, but I do know that a lot of people were bashing her about that as well. So it just ties into that whole storyline for her and how people view her as like, are you too forgiving of these types of situations, especially sexual types of crimes? they're really really frowned upon in any community, but especially in uh the black community. It's really it's we don't hold certain things to, to a standard of like someone does something like that and go to jail. It's not too many people that's saying free such and such. You can go to jail for murder, and you got your homies online, and they're like, free my man's. But when you are accused of a sex crime, it gets quiet for you really really fast. It gets dark really really fast for you. It's not something that we look at as a something that we're going to sit here and hope that you make it home for, because we really don't. Now my phone's giving me issues. Um, but yeah, so that's. I mean, it's her choice who she chooses to rekindle her flames with and all those types of things. And you know, it brings it to a larger topic that a lot of the women who are talking about this issue and bashing and things like that, you probably couldn't even make too many of those assumptions about the people that you choose to deal with in your own life. One, sometimes you don't even know the people that you're dealing with, but then on top of that, you know, the people that you claim to hold down and all this, like, a crime is a crime. Sex crimes are disgusting, especially if they're sex crimes against minors. I think there's high discussion and they should get way steeper sentencing than a lot of them do. And sometimes just being registered as a sex offender is not enough, in my opinion, but it is what it is. Um, but yeah, I get it. I understand why some people are really like going after Nicki. Some people just find it funny and they want content. Some people, extra clicks, likes, and shares for their own social media purposes. Some people actually find it disturbing, or some people have experienced some of the crimes that he was accused of in their personal lives, and they really, they take it to heart, and they, just don't want any of those people just roaming the earth at this point because they've really altered their life, mentally, physically, or just everything, emotionally, all that stuff. So, it is what it is. But you know, live, learn, be happy, all that good stuff. It's her relationship. I don't have to be a part of it, so I don't really care too much about who she deals with. In the grand scheme of things, I see Nicki Minaj as an entertainer, and I'm tuned into her music. I started separating people from some of the things they do sometimes, or some of the people they associate themselves with sometimes. If they do certain things, and yeah, I'll step aside and allow them to be great in their own realm. But I can detach myself as a fan of theirs if they do something that I don't really approve of. So that's Nicki. That's her life. It is what it is. Moving on. Since we're still on the topic of relationships, Cardi B and Offset called it off over the past week, 2 weeks or whatever. Cardi B made a video about it, which a lot of people are saying she didn't really have to do. It's not something that they're like, you know. Granted, a lot of their relationship was in the public eye. Mostly all of the good things, the music and the tours and the love and the body parts. Of the child, the finger one day, the lips this day, the forehead another day, and she actually posted an entire picture of her child now. So I guess whatever marketing plan they had going on for baby culture, it's done. So that kind of wrapped it up for me as far as saying like, yeah, this relationship probably really is over, and it might not be any rekindling of that flame, because that was something they were holding dear together, trying to strategize on how to present the image of their child to the world. So, um, but the story around it is, he Offset was constantly cheating, and then a text came out, a text thread between him and, I want to say, Summer Bunny was the person was the person he was texting. And they were like trying to get Cuban down. He was trying to set up a threesome allegedly, and all these other things. So, um, Summer Bunny got on her IG or what, IG Live, whatever. She was teary eyed, very apologetic. She was like, didn't want to be the cause of the break in their relationship. She was sorry and all these other things. Cuban Doll was like, I don't know. I never met Offset. I don't know Offset. I just found out about the text message when you guys found out. So either so if you look at it thinking that both of the women were involved with Offset at some point, Summer Bunny is the mistress or the side girl or whatever that's like, oh my god, I really didn't like want to destroy that relationship. Cuban Doll is the one that's like, huh, she's the one who plays it how the men want it to be played. It's like, I don't know you. I never met you. Just play that shit off, keep it moving, and things like that. And that's how I'm looking at the two of them because I'm like, she like I don't know. I don't know him. I was like, wait, I don't believe that. One, I don't believe that. I don't think anyone does, especially if the way Summer Bunny got on and she was like crying and really being so apologetic. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure there was some truth to that entire situation and all those things, and she played it. But Offset has said to people in his camp and people that are close to the situation that he did want to rekindle things with Cardi B and wanted to patch it up, and the most important thing to him is trying to regain that trust, which I don't think will ever happen. Even if they do end up back together, I don't think the trust factor will ever be there. I mean, he's still who he is. He's still um in the most popular hip hop group currently. Um, which brings me to something. I mean, off that in their relationship, but that's their life, and we will see it hash out over time. Most of the content of that probably will come from Cardi. A lot of it will probably be her talking about her own, situation and how she feels, or if a tweet goes out and a lot of people are hitting her up about it, she'll probably speak on it because she's one of the celebrities that still read everything. She's one of the people who checks how many people are saying what. And I think that's why I think that played a lot into why they actually broke up, because she's like, this is too public, and she didn't want to continuously be dragged um in the public like she was for staying with Offset, with all of these women coming out, the women at the strip club and this girl and that girl all in the same type of situation. So she just like, forget it, man, forget it. And she said it's been going on for a while, like them not being on the same page pretty much. So, but let's transition that into music a little bit. And I probably can answer the questions myself, but I also want to just say, like, or ask, at this point, I know that Cardi B is bigger than Offset, them as solo acts. I know that from what I've been seeing, just from me looking at the landscape of music, that she's a bigger star than Offset on his own. But is Cardi B now a bigger star than the Migos as a collective? Like, is she more of a draw than them? Like, can she ask for a bigger purse, so to speak, when she goes and perform? Like, is Cardi B at that point, compared to the only comparing to the Migos? Like, so it's three of them in the group, and when she goes and asks, like when they go out to perform and they have a concert, whatever the case may be, say that they both are asking for $100,000, and I'm pretty sure it's probably more than that. But to say they both were asking for $100,000, Cardi gets all of that on her own. When the Migos, they split it, three ways after they pay management and all that kind of stuff like that. So does that mean that Cardi's star power is now uh has now surpassed the Migos? Um, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm trying to figure that out because that's that's kind of major in the sense of she's new. She just came out. She, as far as being a popular music act, it's one of the it's a thing that I always look at is how much can they pull in on their purse solo, going on tour and things like that. Is she really that much more popular now than the Migos? Is she more popular than the Migos? Is she? I mean, they're under the same management, but she's still signed to Atlantic. She's still being put forward as the one of the front runners of the label, hands down. So that's something to discuss, like as we see time go forward, especially with her and Offset not being together now. Will she still be part of QC? Like I know that normally when they do contracts, they I don't know if they, if she has it like a year by year automatic renewal, resign, or whatever the case may be, or they go back and renegotiate terms. Is that relationship still going to be the same because they've been with QC longer, obviously, and that business there is different. You know, being in a relationship with somebody is completely different than being in business with them or being under the same business with them, especially if it's something that you helped build to what it is today. Like if Offset's there, he's like, yeah, I helped build this thing. I helped build this monster that we now call QC. So that's something that I'll keep an eye on personally because that's my interest. The music, where is it going to go? How is her sound going to change? Because she had a lot of Migos influence in a lot of her music as she was, you know, rising more and more to the top. She had a lot more musical influences, and it sound more Migo like, as we moved forward down the line. You know, the flows, the little bounce that she get and things like that, the quick change of flows. It was a lot of it was influenced by that. So that is something that will be interesting to see. Hopefully it pans out. I don't want anybody to have bad business. I don't want anybody to not make their money. I just want to know how much star power, being that Cardi is still on the rise right now. How much star power will she continue to have still being with QC now that her and Offset are no longer in a romantic relationship at the current time. So hopefully everything pans out. I think she'll be okay. I never had her lasting too long as an artist. By too long, I mean a decade. Um, which is pretty much sums up a good chunk of a career for an artist. But who knows? If she continue to get good songs, get good. If she continues to get good songwriters, she could probably last a long time. And she can also transition into like uh doing a lot of Spanish music and stuff like that too. So she got some avenues where she can do things if it's not working in one or the other, and she can always go back to reality TV, especially now. Like she don't need it financially, but to have that consistent visibility is a good thing now, especially since that's where she came from as far as her rise. I don't think without loving hip hop, Cardi B wouldn't be able to have the music career that she's had today. That's pretty much like a fact. So, they'll be hopefully they'll be good. Everyone, we're still waiting for the Offset album. I assume it. I haven't checked any of the new music that dropped this past Friday. I just really wasn't in that space. Not saying that anything was wrong with me personally. It just after Meek's album, honestly, I listened to other albums after that, and I was like, I'm really not in the space to listen to a lot of other BS. Like Meek, pretty much, I can probably listen to his album for the remainder of the year. Content wise, looking for good content. So I don't know what came out last Friday. I have no idea, zero idea, to be honest with you. Wait, no, I'm lying. I think Gucci dropped something, but I think that's it. That's only because I saw people on social media uh, talk about, saying Guwap dropped something. So besides that, I don't know. So let's move on. That's the Cardi B and Offset. They'll figure their own lives out. That's their own personal stuff. But let's talk about Kevin Hart. Let's talk about Kevin Hart stepping down from hosting the Oscars because of a tweet um, that he posted years ago. It was something about like I'm sitting here and I seen this guy. He was eating chicken and he put the whole piece of chicken in his mouth. He pulled the piece of chicken out. There was no meat on it. He was like, "Man, that was gay." That was the paraphrasing the tweet. I don't have it right in front of you, but it was something along that line. Now, again, it wasn't like yesterday. This was old, and so he stepped down. I'm pretty sure that's because someone approached him about it, and people made such an issue about it, and maybe they wanted. Now he doubled back. I can't even say it's really double backing. He apologized for it recently on an interview because he was saying like at that time it, the that community wasn't as sensitive to everything that's going on today, but now everything is an issue. We can't say certain words anymore. We can't use certain terminology anymore because now everything is listed as slander. And yeah, I get it. And on one hand, on the other hand, he's a comedian. So if we continue to allow any specific type of people continuously dictate how we can talk now, and I'm not talking about like hate speech. That's specific, like saying I hate these type of people should die. I'm saying like in a joke. So now it's gonna go from he can no longer say anything about gay people, which he seemingly doesn't have any problem with, um to now say a bunch of fat people start getting upset now. So now he can't say anything about fat people because now they have their own movement. So he can't say no. So now he don't have gay jokes, he don't have fat jokes. And now he can't say nothing about just speaking on white people anymore, as a lot of comedians do, because now the white people are starting to get more and more racially sensitive. And so now he can't say gay jokes, fat jokes, white people jokes. So now he continues to talk about. So what's going to happen is his content is going to, in my opinion, is going to start to die down. Not saying that that's all he talks about. What I'm saying is to not have that pool of things to pull from as far as being a comedian is kind of diminishing to the craft. Like, we can't talk about anything. I'm speaking on comedians. They're saying like, if we can't talk about this and we can't talk about that and we can't say this word or we can't say that word because we're gonna get bashed or we can't win awards or our stuff won't be put on TV or we'll be sued or whatever the case may be. I think that we're moving into an area where we're getting too soft as a people. And I'm not talking about just black people. I'm talking about people in general, the entire population of the planet. Like, we are getting so soft to where we are allowing every little movement to dictate how we speak in just period. Um to say that, like, at that time it probably was super funny saying it or being able to experience that or trying to recreate that imagery in your head when he was saying, I seen the guy stick the entire piece of chicken in his mouth, pull it out. There was no meat on it. Man, that was so gay. And people who are fans of Kevin Hart, you try to, you know, play it back in your mind in his tonage, how you would think he would act it out if he was performing it on stage and things like that to make it funny for yourself. And now things like that are being stripped away. So what can he say? Like, what if you go online and just like say something about his own child, his own kids. He can go online, say something about his own kids, and be like, "Man, my son did X, Y, and Z today, and blah blah blah." And you heard yourself, he's so retarded. The people who are now saying retarded is so sensitive because we've seen it when they attacked Kim Kardashian. It's like, one, he was talking about his own kid. We know his kid's not mentally disabled, and just to say the word now is so damaging. I can no longer be funny in this context. So it's kind of it's killing. A lot of the things that we're doing is killing everything. I don't mind. I don't mind. You can't tell people what offends them. That's the main thing. So I get that. You cannot say that's not offensive because you can't tell them what offends them. But at the same time, you have sometimes, like, even if you're offended by something, you have to detach yourself or just sit back and think, did that person, were they intentionally trying to offend me? Those are two different things. Being offensive and purposely trying to offend someone are two completely different things. I can say something and I have no idea that it involves you or your lifestyle or something like that, whatever it is, and I can say something like me. Like, I have a lot of gay friends. I don't have any issue with none of the things that they say. But if I hear a gay joke, it's funny. My gay friends say gay jokes. It's funny. It doesn't really matter to me. Like, me, I don't really get offended easy by a lot of things in the first place. So, but someone else might, like, you can be sitting around uh, playing games online or whatever, and you say something, and someone on the other end, in another state or whatever, they can find whatever you say offensive or some type of slang that you use offensive because it might mean something different to them, and you don't know that, and they can feel offended. So just being able to go back and now they dig up old tweets about something that he said, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't trying to offend anyone. It's just a term that's used to explain certain things to make things funny, or stereotypes. Some stereotypes are true. Not saying that stereotype is true, but some stereotypes are true, or some stereotypes are derived from things that actually happened multiple times, which is why it's created a stereotype. It might not be true to everyone, but someone does it. Somebody somewhere does something of that nature. So him stepping down from the Oscars. Um, I don't know the full actual reasoning, but I'm pretty sure there was a conversation about the tweet because the tweet was the issue. And then I like what Nick Cannon did when he brought up the tweets of uh, white female comedians who have tweeted some of the same types of jokes on their platforms, and they're out getting multi-million-dollar deals and things of that nature, and they're seemingly okay. Like nothing's going on with them. They're moving on in life, and no one's bothering them. At the moment. And I'm not saying that I want them. Like I don't want people outside with torches and pitchforks outside of their stuff too, because they had past tweets that are now considered homophobic tweets. That's the thing. It's like these old tweets were like jokes that they just said, and they just reference a gay line, and it's like, oh my god, these are homophobic now. And it's like, I don't find it to be homophobic. Like the tweet wasn't like, yo, if any gay person ever gets near me, I swear to God, I'm gonna kill them, or I swear to God, like, don't be around me, I don't like gay people. That wasn't the tweet. It was a joke. It is. So again, is he not supposed to be like, man, I was on the elevator today with this 450-pound fat guy. I looked over at the weight capacity and we were almost there because there was four other people in the elevator. He said some shit like that. And then, online people laugh, they're going to retweet it. And then 5 years from now, when being fat or being obese, there's like a huge obese movement, they're going to go back and dig up some old tweet about him saying there was a 450-pound looking guy on the elevator and he was scared for his life, jokey, jokey, joke. And we're going to be like, oh my God, it's insensitive. And then he got stepped down from something else. Like, how far are we going to allow this to go to where people can no longer use their freedom of expression or their freedom of speech to be comedians? At least to be comedians. Yeah, it wasn't that deep. None of the tweets and stuff were that deep. They weren't that deep. So it just, it's disturbing. Like the bigger issue for me is how far society is allowing people to push their agenda forward and forward and forward. Like we got this, we've been having like for a long time we've been having a very huge feminist movement, but over the past 5 to 10 years, it's been getting more and more dominant. Like they're dominating a lot of areas. They're stepping more into the roles of trying to be in the forefront of politics. Different positions of powers and types of high powered jobs, all of those things, media, all of the things. And I don't mind. I'm not saying that I don't think there should be equal between male and female. I talked about this on the last episode. But will it get to a point where we can't make jokes about females? Like, what if he was like, the guy ate that whole chicken and sucked the meat right off it? Man, that was so female. Would the issue be the same now? Like, would it be like, what does that mean? What does that mean that was so female? Blah, blah, blah. Are we going to go through all of those things and now we can't make jokes about women? As comedians, they can't say things about women now. The content is getting less and less and less and less. And that makes it hard to be creative because we don't have anything to talk about. We can't talk about animals because of PETA. We can't talk about uh, uh, anything. We can't talk about. If you feel like you can't talk about anything. You gotta find the fine line in between and waver yourself through the gray area all the time, just to speak publicly online, or just to speak in public. Period. You gotta waver yourself all the time. It's like, it's upsetting because you don't get to see some people true creativeness sometimes because they're held back. They're restricted by society and their standards because they have to provide for their family. So they're like, I can't say that because I might get bashed by this community, and I can't say that because I might get bashed by this community, and I can't go say this because this just happened last week and it's too soon. Like all of these things are putting some of these creatives in a bottle, and it's slowing down. It's slowing down the process of people being able to create new content. Because a lot of people are saying, like, now I hear a lot of people saying, I think Kevin Hart's funny. I hear a lot of people say that he's not funny, or he's always the same character, so to speak. And that's cool with me. You fit where you fit in life. Um, at the moment, his character of himself is funny to me. Um, but to some people, it's not. They want to see him do different things. But look at society. He's restricted. What else is he going to do? He can only be himself with restrictions now. He can't go out and play any other type of roles because some of the stuff might be too sensitive for somebody else. It might be offensive to somebody. Somebody might be like, "Oh, I don't like when he did that because he was trying to he was saying something about this type of person or these types of people." And it's sad. Like, when are we going to move aside and let people be creative and just say, is it funny or is it not? It's all cool and dandy when he's not talking about you. That's what I'm saying. Like, when he's not offending you or your lifestyle or your way of thinking, it's funny. Oh my God, he's so funny. He's so funny. Oh my God. And then soon as something that hits a little home to you and you think, like, man, do I fit in that mode of people? Do I fit in that stereotype or whatever? Oh no, he just offended me. You bullshit. Like, come on. That's like me being upset if he came out with a whole slew of super light skin jokes. And I'm like, nah, you're offending the light skin community. I don't fuck with it. Oh, you can't say that. Your color, what is it called? Your this is colorism and all. Like, come on, man. Like, be for real. Be funny, man. Like, allow this man to be funny. He wasn't bashing. He wasn't saying like you're disgusting. He wasn't saying like these types of people should be banned from the planet or none of those things. None of those things came out of his mouth. It's a simple joke. Simple, super simple joke. Like, when are we gonna allow people to be people? Again, you can't tell people what offends them, but at the same time, think about if they were trying to purposely offend you as well. Because sometimes people don't know. They don't know like what's offensive, or they don't think that what they said is being offensive. But we so quick to jump out and try to uh bash people and bring down their character because we love to see the rise of someone. We also love to see the fall. So we're always trying to find a way as a society to set up the fall. Like, we want to see how they fall. That's why everybody always got their cameras out, especially when celebrities are around. That's why everybody is always trying to combat celebrities on their platforms. Like, if an up and coming comedian is trying to make a name for themselves and they know they if they get enough buzz they can say, I don't think Kevin Hart's funny, and then they're going to get some extra clicks, they'll say it. They may apologize a year later once they got their buzz and like, or just tell everybody, I just said that to get clicks. They'll tell you. Same thing with music. If somebody's hot and they're rapping right now, up and coming rappers try to make this person this and that person this, knowing damn well you would love to be on a track with this person. Like, all of that stuff now, social media is kind of destroying everything in a sense of it being like a just the love for things, the real passion of it, because everyone's chasing clicks, everyone's chasing views. If you build your viewership fast, someone want to like you, someone would pick you up if your following is big enough. You don't have to be good anymore. You just have to have a huge following. How many people was following you on Instagram? Because I think it's moving away from how many people are looking at your videos on YouTube. I feel like it's going away from that because all of the content is shifting. All of the content is shifting over to Instagram and Facebook because they're the same company. So if people saying that Facebook's dead, it's really not, because Instagram is Facebook. Um, they got the IGTV now, and that's going to be like I took a look at it, a couple good qualities, and they're going to continue to improve that. The IG Live, obviously, a lot of people are using now. just the photos and videos in general. So we see a lot of the content shifting. The only reason a lot of people are still going to YouTube and things like that is because Facebook and Instagram and things like that, they currently do not pay you for how many times someone looks at your video or how many likes you get or how many times your music is streamed. They just shut it down. YouTube still pays. So that's why that platform still exists. But if they get to the point where on Facebook and Instagram that you are getting paid for your streams, the views, like, come on. It's over. It'll be over for YouTube because that's one less platform we'll have to use to go and try to make money. We can make it all in one place. If I can make all my money on Facebook, I'll just stay on Facebook. All of my podcasts will go up on Facebook. All of my music videos will only go up on Facebook because it's easier for me to navigate and share with people on that platform. It's easier for me to drop my video in a group. It's easier for like all those things instead of having the YouTube they got to click off and leave outside of the platform. People don't want to keep switching back and forth between platforms. Put it all in one, they take over. Facebook's on its way. If they do it right, they can put YouTube out of business. They can get all the content, they can get all the shows, they can get all the music, everything. They can have a Facebook music platform, or they can just partner up with Spotify or Apple or Tidal or any or another up and coming streaming service that they can buy and make a huge platform and integrate it into Facebook to where it's like you don't have to pay for it because Facebook is free. You don't have to pay for this streaming service. We allow it through Facebook and we just get our money through advertising. And now, like, it's so many different ways they can make money, and I'm pretty sure they're on top of it, and they're just looking for the right time to press the button. But it's insane. It's insane. We're going into a area where content is king, but content is also now being censored and monitored and offensive, and so we're like, what's the content? You know, where can we go with the content as creators without offending somebody? Because somebody's going to get offended. Period. Someone's going to get offended at some point for some reason, and you're going to be looking so confused about it. Like, what did I say? Oh, you said that people who like vanilla ice cream are so vanilla. And you're going to be like, okay. Well, I'm not fucking vanilla. And then it's going to be a big thing. What does vanilla mean? And so it's going to continuously go into this downward spiral of what can you say? Something's going to be offensive to somebody at some point, and we can't keep having 1,000 movements continuously stop everything that's going on when creating content and trying to entertain people and things like that. Just don't listen. Don't watch them. If you find that one joke offensive, say, I'm no longer a fan of Kevin Hart, and just walk away. Go be a fan of someone else. If someone says something offensive in a song, go walk away. And that's what's crazy about it is all these people listen to rap music. Hip hop's the number one streamed genre on the face of the planet. So there's no way you're going to tell me you're not listening to any hip hop songs up to date and don't hear a gay slur or whatever. And you're like, oh, turn that off. You don't turn it off. You bob your head. You probably scream the line out. You shake and dance. And you go to the club. You say this is my shit and all that. And then you go and dig up an old tweet from Kevin Hart. So he got to step down from the Oscars. Another opportunity denied from another African American person because something in his past that's not even that deep. Again, another conversation for another time, though, right? Like, come on. We got to allow people to be them. He's not a murderer. He's not out here bashing the gay community. And he said it himself. He said, like, back then it was probably okay, but now, no. Like, it's your career at this point. Like, it's your, not just your, like, you don't just, you don't just lose endorsements or lose deals or people don't want to, do business with you. You can get thrown under the bus. Like, sometimes it's over for you. And somebody's waiting for that chance. Somebody's waiting for you to make that one mistake that's going to push you out the way so they can step in and take that shine. Kevin Hart's making a lot of money right now. He's doing a lot of big major things. He is killing it. Do you think other comedians don't want his spot? You think any comedian right now don't want his spot? Tell me what comedian right now that don't want what Kevin Hart is doing right now. Maybe Jerry Seinfeld, because he's cool and well off. He's okay. How many other comedians are doing what he's doing active across any race? I don't know. I don't know personally. If it's someone that's super funny to someone else and I don't know, they're not funny, or I just haven't caught wind of them. But I don't think anybody is doing what Kevin Hart is doing right now. I don't think any comedian is making the type of money Kevin Hart's making right now today on a consistent basis. Yeah, Dave could go out and get like 20 M's a special. But what after that? Is Dave Chappelle going to be able to get the same amount of money that Kevin Hart would get for a movie right now? I don't know. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm saying I don't think so. I think Kevin Hart is probably one of the biggest draws in comedy right now, and he's killing it. So anything to tear him down at this point, right? I don't like it. I don't like it. The tweet was trash. It wasn't that deep. Move on. Let's live life. And again, if it offends you, figure out if the person was intentionally trying to offend you first before making it a big deal. That's important, and to me, in my rule book of life, wasn't intentional. And that's with a lot of things. Like intent is key to a lot of things when you're before you go off and start snapping on people. You think of the intent. Even in relationships. And now that we're wavering into that, like even in relationships, you think like intent is the biggest uh play on whatever the situation is. Like, did I intentionally try to upset you because I didn't get your favorite ice cream, or because I didn't go get up uh and do something you asked me to do immediately, because I didn't know you needed it done right then and there. Whatever the case may be, intent is king. Um, but now that we're going into speaking on relationships, let's talk about one thing. I saw that I've been seeing a lot of, and I always see a lot. Social media is great for content on relationships, by the way, especially if you follow the right people or even the wrong people, whatever you want to say. I've seen a lot of things, and with people like watching Love and Hip Hop and all the things, uh they make their own ideas on what they think relationships should be and how they think they should flow, etc., etc. And so I want to talk about wearing the pants in a relationship, and I don't mean like how the typical standard of wearing the pants, of the meaning of it means like the man wears the pants because he brings home the bacon, he sets the rules, and blah blah blah. I mean like wearing the pants as far as setting the standard in your relationship. And they normally say like the man sets the standard for his household, blah blah blah, this and the third. So, take an example of. So I saw people share the clip of Juelz and his girl Kimbella. They were in a car. I'm assuming this was like Love and Hip Hop, and she was bringing up his drug addiction that he had, and he was like, "That's not important right now. I'm about to go to jail. That's not even talking about." And he said something on the lines of, "We both were in the same house. When I was downstairs, you were upstairs." And her words were, "Yeah, and I've been asking you to come upstairs for years, or for 2 years, or whatever the case may be." And I was like, "Okay, why didn't you just go downstairs?" Now I say that to say, and again, if it offends you, I'm not trying to offend you. Um, I'm trying to understand this point. If both of you are in the same house, like me, I spend a lot of time in my studio at home. A lot of time. Like I spend a lot of time in here. I do my music in here. I do my podcast in here. I do my video game streaming in here. So I'm in here a lot. I do my business in here, my business calls, my email, everything that I do outside of normal day living and leaving out the house and working and things like that. I'm doing it in my studio. It's my comfort space. It's peaceful. I can get things done, but it's my space. And I had a similar type of issue that Kimbella mentioned, that I'm always down here. My wife had said the same thing to me, and I'm like, hey, just come down here. Like you can come in the studio. It's not like I'm locking out the world. I'm just in here being busy. I have a thing with not being active. I can't lay dormant. I don't want to be in my bedroom all day. All those types of things. Like I'm a guy that used to be like sitting in the living room all day, watching TV, hanging out with friends, playing the games, all of those things. That was me my entire life. So I'm more of a faster paced type of guy. I just like feel like I'm being active and not doing anything all day. So I'm doing something, even if it's just me, recreational time, spending time listening to music or you know listening to or creating beats and writing and all types of things and looking up different things to talk about during the podcast and looking up different ideas to make content better. All of those things. I go through all of that stuff. I'm here. So when Cambella was like, I've been asking you for years to come upstairs, I'm like, just go downstairs. If you care about someone that much and you're really trying to make a difference in their life or you really want to spend time with them, engulf yourself a little bit more into the things that they enjoy as well. Now, I don't know what she does professionally. I don't know what she does. Maybe she's a model. I have no idea. So I'm not knocking and saying she don't have anything on her plate and that she's not doing anything with her life. But what I'm saying is, Jules has been doing music for a very long time. If by now you aren't the person who enjoys going to the studio, if by now you're not the person who's really, really back in his career in the sense of supporting him, not just like I'm here because he does do it and is making money, so whatever. I mean, like actually, like being appreciative of that time and being willing and able to be like, okay, I can come and sit in the studio session with you. I really don't like it, but I'm there. Or be okay with not being there, be okay with not being around in that space, but don't complain about how much time I'm spending in that space, especially when that's how you make your money. So maybe that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what more do you women want in that type of situation as far as setting the standard for the household. If I'm doing this now, granted, at that time he was like, during that entire time he developed an addiction to lean, then his teeth, he had problems with the teeth, then he had addiction to got addicted to the Percocets because he was in pain. He was taking a painkiller. He got addicted to that, and she was like, and he was like, "You weren't there for me." That he was kind of saying like, "You weren't there for me," and she was like, "How dare you say I wasn't there?" And he was like, "That's how he felt." At that time, like looking back on not at that time. I guess in retrospect, he looking like I went through a lot of that on my own because maybe she was being overjudging and maybe she was just like, you need to kick the habit and blah blah blah. For some people, it's not easy to quit whatever it is you have as an addiction, especially if it's drugs or alcohol. Some people find it really really difficult. There are people who still smoke cigarettes, and the doctor told them they're going to die in 6 months if they don't stop. They still smoke because they're addicted. So you have that type of situation, and it's like, what more do you want? Anybody in a relationship, I'm not just going to say just men. What do you want from your spouse if they have a seemingly busy lifestyle, or if you guys are both in the same house? You can't be in the same house and then you complain that you want them to spend a lot of their downtime and free time just with you, especially if you're not doing anything. Let's do something together. Even if we're home, let's do something together. We could do something together at home. It doesn't always have to be, let's just lay around all day, feel fat, eat ice cream, and watch movies all day. It's cute. It sounds good. But to do that every day, to do those types of things every day, that's not cool. You have to get up and do something and be active, because what's going to happen is, as a man, I'm just looking from my perspective. If I was a person that wasn't active and all I did with me and my wife is just sit around and watch TV all day when I'm home and eat ice cream and eat snacks and get fat, blah, 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 she'll probably be happy because I'm not doing anything. I'm not going nowhere. She don't have to worry about trust issues and watching over her show. None of that stuff, because I'm right here attached to her hip all day. But I'll feel like shit. I'll feel like I'm not being productive. I could be doing so much more with our life. I could be trying to make things better for my family. I can be handling business because I have a business, and I can be creating content. I could be working on music. I could be reaching out to other people. Like my clocks are always spinning. So for me to just sit back and be like, oh, let me just sit here and make my wife happy for 2 years and not do nothing, you lose yourself. Instead of trying to be like, yo, babe, what's up? Listen, this is what I'm gonna do. If you want to sit in, you can sit in while I do this. If you want to sit down here while I work on these beats, come sit down here and talk to me, because I'm only making beats, or I'm only writing to this beat. I'm writing the song, so we can sit down and have a comment. I don't have to rush. I don't have to. It's not like I'm on a timeline where I got to turn. This is mine. I'm doing it at my own time. So come down, let's chat. I can write a couple bars. We could talk about life or plan the next week or whatever, and all that stuff. If you choose not to do those things, I'm not saying you gotta do it every day, but there has to be some sort of compromise. If you're not doing anything that your spouse likes to do with them, they're not going to want to do the things that you like to do as well, because you're not compromising anything. You just want me to stop everything I'm doing and drop it for you so you can feel important personally, and that's selfish. I think that's very, very selfish. Like, I don't like the idea of someone saying that X, Y, and Z means more to you than I do, and you be like, no, it doesn't. But that's something that I do. I mean more to me to some degree. I have to. You know, and to say that, not saying like I put my family before everything. You know, I'm one of the people, that most men, I would die for my family, all those good things. But while living, I want to make sure that I'm living my life as well. I don't want to be stopped doing the things that I love doing in life because the person that I'm with just wants to sit around and love me all day and just be up under my skin. That's corny and that's boring, and a lot of relationships fail because of that, because you get tired of that person. There's no anything. If there's nothing else there. I see you every day, all day. All we do is sit around, eat chicken, and watch movies. Then tomorrow's gonna be the same thing, and then tomorrow's gonna be the same thing, and then a lot of people, you get this a lot. Even from women, you get them saying, before I got married and had kids or whatever, before I got married, I used to do this, and I was out in the fashion world and I was doing makeup and blah blah blah. And then I got with my man, and he started taking care of me. I got comfortable. He told me I don't have to work, I can stay home. And now I'm home and I'm miserable all by myself. I feel like I'm losing myself, and he's out here doing whatever he wants because he gotta provide for the family, and I feel like I don't get enough time with him. Okay, you shouldn't have stopped doing what you were doing. You should have continued to live your life. You should have continued to be the person that you were when you guys got together, because the person that you were when y'all got together is the person that person fell in love with. Doesn't that does that makes the most sense? Like, I'm a person who say I will not change who I am to the core for anybody. If you fell in love with that person, that's the person that you're going to get for the rest of your life. If you have an issue with some other things, like a bad habit or something like that, speak on it. And if it's not detrimental to my health, I'll either try to change it, or we can work on it, or we can figure out how to improve on it, whatever the case may be. But I'm not just going to change how I move through life as far as being a productive member of society and just sitting here just to make you happy. I'm just gonna stop being productive. I'm just gonna stop being me. I'm gonna stop doing what makes me happy to make you happy. That's stupid. It's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Like, who does that? I'm gonna just stop. Okay, I do music. I do music on my personal free time. I work on albums and things like that. I put the album out. I keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, I do music because it's fun. I like it. I like doing it, and I have fun doing it. I think I'm good at it and all those things. So if I have someone in my life that's like, you should stop. No, come over here with me. Come sit with me. Let's go here. Let's go there. Don't do the music. Don't do the music. I'll be like, yo, you got to bounce. Like, I can't do that. That's in life. That's the thing. Like, you have to continue to do things that make you happy too, because I'm a believer in that nobody can make you happy. They can only add to your happiness, because if you're unhappy and you're put in a happy situation, you still might be unhappy. You might end up bringing down the people who are happy. That's the thing. Like, I don't think anybody can forcefully make you happy, but you can damn well make someone else unhappy. Your energy is something completely different when you're unhappy versus when you're happy, because unhappy people sometimes want to continue to be unhappy, and they sit there and they fight happiness. And they don't never think that. They always say, I want somebody who's gonna come in my life and make me happy. And I'm like, you come into your own life and make yourself happy. That's what you need to do. That's the thing. You make you happy. If you can't do that, it's going to be hard for someone else to do it because you're going to have this list of things that make you happy, and a lot of them things you could do your damn self. Man, it's like, oh, you weren't happy before you met me, and this is your list? Why haven't you done this for yourself? And why haven't you done this for yourself? Or this, or that, or you could have been did that, you could have been on that, and then you're going to turn around and look at them like they're a smart ass, and guess what? You're going to be offended. When they probably aren't meaning to offend you, they are just telling you the truth. So, it's a lot that goes on with relationships and setting the standard and being the head of the household, so to speak, and setting the rules to apply by when two people have different mentalities on how they think a household should be ran, which is okay if you come together and compromise. If you can't compromise, one person is going to think this how it's supposed to be when you're in a relationship versus when you live together versus when you're engaged versus when you're married. And I'm looking like, why do any of those things have to be different aside from being in a relationship to the point where you guys move together? Once you guys move together, from that point forward, everything else should be almost equally the same. Whether you're just girlfriend, boyfriend, whether you're engaged, or whether you get married, all of those things should coincide and they should stay on the same pace. Like, you be seeing the things like, oh, boyfriends get this, husbands get that. And you're like, well, if I don't think I'm going to get that when I'm the boyfriend, why would I want to be a husband? Because I am looking forward to something that was never there. Like, it shouldn't be a prize at the end of the road. It should be, this is the lifestyle we're in. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I can do this with you for the rest of my life. Let's get married. Let's move on. And continue to do the things that we were doing. That's how it's supposed to be, in my opinion. If you don't agree with that, let me know where that's wrong. Let me know where something is wrong. Like, don't be like, oh, men deserve this type of meal, boyfriends deserve this type of meal, husbands deserve this type of meal. No, I want to know if you can cook. I want the best meal you got until we get married. I need that shit all the time. You know? Certain types of sex is like, hey, if you're into this and you never let me know until we got married, I'm like, damn, you was holding out this whole time. That's corny. Or if you're into certain stuff and you like, I won't do that until we get married, that's corny. You'll be like, well, what do you mean? Because you can be trash at whatever it is you're talking about, and not and that's it. I'll be like, no, you're trash at that. You've been holding out on that. That shit was corny. And then you're mad because then you're not gonna do it. Instead of working your way towards all of these things or making sure you're comfortable in the things that you're going to be doing as a married person moving forward. No one thinks of the things like that. Well, some people do. I do. But a lot of people don't think of the things like that. They do everything for shock value and they try to get memes and clicks and laugh. And I be looking like, this shit is dumb. It's stupid. Somebody shouldn't get something because of your relationship status, but you're in a relationship. Your relationship should be at its best before you get married. Before. So that way, that's what you can look forward to. I'm looking forward to having this happiness, this relationship, these great things for the rest of my life. Anything else new that comes after that we grow and develop together, great. But I know exactly what I'm getting into as I'm going through this relationship. I knew what it was when she was my girl. I know what it was like. And then you go and say, okay, I know what it was like. I know what it's like to live together because we moved in together. We live together. I know what it's like. I know what this person, I know how they sleep. I know what they like. I know what they eat for breakfast. I know what I don't like about their living habits. I know what I can deal with. I know what I can't deal with. We address the things that I can and address the things that I can't. We talked about it. We moved on from that. And you keep it pushing. Then you be like, okay, we got everything down. We're a seemingly well-oiled machine. Boom, let's get it. Let's get married. You get married, anything else should be an addition. Like, hey, I've never done this in life before. Let's try this. I'm cool with those things when you're married. I've never done this. I've never been here. I've never done that. I never did this type of sexual act. Blah blah blah. Let's try all these new things to add a little bit more to now to our marriage. Another layer. But if it's something that you can do before you guys are married, do it. So that way you know. That way you know. It's like, come on. You gotta deal with life uh differently now. You gotta deal with it in ways that make people understand who you are as a person. You gotta deal with all of those things, and that's pretty much you guys got it, man. It is what it is. So this is it. I'm gonna close out on that note, guys. This is the Highly Flavored Podcast. This is episode number 15. I'm your host, Eddie Royal. If you guys have any thing that you would like to talk about, moving on down the line and moving forward, just inbox me. You can DM me on Instagram, inbox me on Facebook. You can send me emails at highlyflavored at gmail.com. Whatever, however you want to contact me, you can do so. Starting the new year, any independent music artist, I will be reviewing full projects, EPs or albums only on major streaming platforms. I will not be going to SoundCloud to listen to anything. I don't mind going to SoundCloud on my personal time listening to artists, but for reviews, I want it to be something on Apple, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, whatever the case may be. Major streaming DSPs. We're gonna go through those things, and I'm gonna be reviewing albums, maybe one or two every week, hip hop or R&B only. Um, I will not be reviewing singles, so please don't say, "Hey, check my song out." I want projects, EPs, albums only, or whatever, or if it's a mixtape as well. If it's a project on a streaming platform, a major streaming platform, I'm all for it. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Everybody who tuned in on the Facebook Live, everybody who tuned in on the IG Live, everybody who's going to listen on SoundCloud, everybody who's going to watch the video on YouTube. Thank you for supporting the content. And again, anything you want to talk about in the future, let me know. I'll roll it into a topic and we can discuss it. Highly Favorite Podcast, episode number 15. I'm your host, Eddie Royal, and I am gone. See ya.